Hi everyone, this is Lana. Welcome again to the live stream. I don't know what happened to the other one. It just wouldn't allow me to see the chat. Hi everybody. Welcome again. I'm so sorry for the disconnect. I don't know what happened to, I think the internet went away. Now I can see the chat, Amber. Yes. Hi, Amber. I hadn't seen you were on. I couldn't see you guys. Hi, Gail. Welcome, everybody. Hi, Beverly, Lois, Fran, Linda. Oh my God, this is way better. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Okay, so let's get on with it. Okay. Hi, Gemini Princess. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, so we were talking about the serpent and the kundalini energy. And I feel that I'm guided to talk a little bit about this energy because I have been experiencing this a lot myself. And I feel like it can also, maybe some of you will also start to get in touch with this, what Kundalini awakening is. But for me, for now, what I want to share with you guys is that it's basically this metaphor of waking up, right? Because the Kundalini energy is supposed to be this energy that is dormant at the back of your spine in the basic chakra. And when it gets, when it awakens, it starts to move and to move its way up through all the chakras until it finally gets to the crown chakra, and then you basically receive enlightenment. So this is actually what Buddha went through before he became Gautama Buddha, right? So before he became like the Buddha. And I was brought back to that story of Siddhartha and of the path of awakening, and especially to the point, if you don't know this story, I'm just going to summarize based on Hermann Hesse's book of Siddhartha. Basically, this prince is born in this kingdom, right? And he's very sheltered, and he is born into these riches. He has everything he wants, everything he needs. He is bound to marry this beautiful woman, and everything within this palace, right, in this place that is safe and secured by his father, who's sheltering him. But when he starts to grow up, I think when he's around 16 or something like that, he accidentally goes outside the castle, and he starts to see that not everything is richness, not everybody lives the way he lives, and he sees poverty and suffering for the first time in his life. When he sees that, he feels compassion, and he doesn't understand how this world can actually, how duality can exist, right? Because he was living in a sort of fictional non-duality, and then he steps into this world and he sees that there's actually this duality out there. And so he feels betrayed by his family, of course, and he says he's going to be a samadhi, he's going to be like a spiritual seeker, and he's going to go live in the woods with the spiritual masters, and he's going to fast, and so he starts going into this very, very deep cleanse and purification process, where he decides to put his body and his self through all of these challenges. And this is this symbolizes a journey when you start awakening as a soul, and also as a twin flame, when you start awakening to the journey. Because many of you as twin flames, you awakened when you met your twin flame, right? But there are others, for example, myself, I didn't wake up when I met my twin, but I woke up like long before that, through other things. It's usually something that is very big. So when you do have that awakening, you go through this very heavy purification process. And I know many of you can relate to this, where you start going through the depths of yourself, the darkness, the concepts, everything that you thought you knew, everything starts to shake, and you start to receive the space, to create anew, to start rebuilding, to modify your views. You have the chance, let's say, to become a new person, to become whoever you want to be, and to expand your consciousness. Or this happens through the expansion of consciousness. So, in this purification process, many of you know this as the dark night of the soul. And this is also something that happens for all twin flames. And in this process, we start to see, either through the reflection of our twin, take a look at our own wounds. That other person is reflecting to us, or that other soul is reflecting to us. And they will always reflect the part of us that we need to heal still. The patterns, the ancestral templates. It has to do also with our family lineages. And with twin flames, it has to do also especially with your mother lineage, if you're the divine feminine, and with your father lineage, if you're the divine masculine, right? So we go through a very, very deep process of getting to know ourselves again. And we start to get to know ourselves not as humans only, but we start to get to know ourselves as spiritual beings. And this is the difference, okay? And this is the difference between a 3D relationship and a twin flame relationship. Because in the whole journey, in the whole relationship, in the whole way that we even relate to the world, we start to relate through our expanded consciousness. We start to relate through our soul and no longer through our ego. Okay? So what gets shed in the way, and what gets purified in the way, and what gets refined in the way is our ego itself. So all the mental constructs, all the personality constructs, all the limiting beliefs, or even just beliefs that we had, all of this gets purified and gets put through the flame of consciousness. Mm-hmm. That's why we're also called twin flames, because a flame is the fire, is the element that purifies. Okay? And it delivers, or it makes something that was not pure become pure. It refines the matter. Mm-hmm. So as energy beings, that's what we do. Okay, so in this journey, after Siddhartha goes through that very, very difficult stage of purification, and when he also becomes he starts to receive his mastery, right? He starts to create his own mastery through fasting, through meditating, through doing very, very deep spiritual practices, and through putting this in as a priority, through setting this as a priority. So he leaves his family, his friends, everything that he knew, the whole world that he knew where he was born, the whole childhood world. He leaves everything behind, and he goes completely into himself, into the emptiness, into meditation. Okay, and this is something that also happens with twin flames when you start this journey, that some of you ask me, well, I'm alone. Like, where did all my friends go? Where did my family go? Where did my work go? So you're kind of stripped by the universe, but it's actually also not just the universe working with you, but your own soul. working with the universe to put you in the exact same situations, places, and path where you need to be in order to purify your soul. Well, in order to purify your ego and in order to be led by your soul. Okay. And then there's a part where also, there, I mean, I don't want to go too deep into this, because I love this, the story and the lessons and everything that it involves. But let's stay in the part of purification, okay? Just for the sake of this live stream, and maybe next live streams I will go more into the story of the other parts that Siddhartha goes through until he reaches enlightenment. But so going back to the Kundalini energy. The same as happens with our Kundalini. When our Kundalini energy awakens, that energy, that part of us, that consciousness starts to move. And it doesn't mean that if your Kundalini energy awakens that you're going to be enlightened, or that you're going to suddenly, be all like expand your consciousness out of the blue. No, it just means that it starts to support your spiritual process and your development, and it starts to move you through these stages. So for me, in the end, this Kundalini energy has also to do with the movement of the soul, because your soul is the one who's guiding. So when your soul thinks that it's okay that your Kundalini awakens, then it will. When the circumstances are right, then it will. So this is also a very important part of the twin flame journey, that we cultivate patience. We learn how to cultivate patience. We learn how to cultivate trust, and we learn how to cultivate faith. These are things, and these are especially things that also in the story of Siddhartha, he always said, I have all the patience in the world. This was one of his biggest tools when he came out of that stage where he was living in the woods, and he saw this beautiful princess, Kamala, and she said, well, what are you going to offer me? You just came from the woods. You have nothing. You don't do it. You don't have anything to offer me. I'm a princess. And he said, I have everything because I have patience. And with patience, I'm going to get everything that I can offer you, right? So this is, I'm saying this not in the material aspect, but in the spiritual way. Sometimes we need to lose everything, to get stripped of all of these things in order to be able to really focus on ourselves. Sometimes even pain is one of our greatest teachers, because it forces us to focus on ourselves, to focus on the parts of us that are hurting, on the parts of us that need to be healed, on the parts of us that need attention. Because in the busy world, sometimes and oftentimes, we don't even pay attention to our own bodies, to our own thoughts, to our own emotions, because we're so raveled in this 3D matrix, in this what I have to do in putting food on the table, and the responsibilities, and many also in achieving more and more and more. So there is this drive in the 3D that also comes from the old patriarchal systems and the masculine energy of moving forward. But when we start awakening, sometimes through our bodies, through very difficult situations, we are forced to slow down, right? We are forced to take a step back and to really focus on ourselves, maybe for the first time in our lives, maybe for the first time since we were kids. So this is a very, very great gift. And I know sometimes it doesn't seem like a gift, and sometimes it seems like, when is this going to change? When am I going to shift? When I'm going to be healed? And you will get to the part where you have everything. But first, you have to learn how to have nothing, let's say, and go through that purification process. Go from, and it's not that you have nothing, you always have yourself. So you have to just start to you have the opportunity to learn to see that not having anything but having yourself means having everything. Okay, I hope that made sense. Okay, guys, so this was just a little bit of words that I was guided to share with you for your journeys, and especially if you're going through a difficult time. So with that said, I'm going to go into your healings, into your questions. So let me just check the chat box real quick and see how you guys are doing. Okay. Okay, so Ingrid says, can we have an awakening with someone that we believe is our twin flame, but our twin flame may be someone else, or only our twin awaken us? Do we have more than one twin? Okay, this is a very good question, Ingrid, as always. Okay, so the way I see it, okay, guys, and please take this as, each one of us as a soul, we have a different perspective on everything, including energy, including the most general topics. And in the twin flame, there are also many ways of seeing what the twin flame is. I have, heard many versions of that. With the energy that I work, for me, the twin flames is an energetic, okay, first of all, of the masculine and the feminine that we all have in ourselves. So we first become our own twin flame, okay, and this is the first process of merge. We merge in ourselves our divinity into the human. We merge our feminine and masculine side. And then we are able, or we're prepared to do this with someone else. How this plays out for each one of you is very differently. I have seen many things in the twin flames. I have seen many different ways that it can play out with my twin flame patients and with the twin flames that I have worked with. So sometimes you can get this awakening to the concept of twin flame through one person, but they don't necessarily have to be your twin flame. Maybe they have, the way I see it is that this energetic may be carried through different masculines or divine masculines in your life if you are a divine feminine, or through different divine feminines in your life if you're a divine masculine, depending on your process. It's like for some of you, there's like this piece of that twin flame energetic that is carried through one person, and it awakens something in you, and then that goes to another person, and that awakens something else or a deeper layer, and it starts to build on your twin flame template. For some of you, you already have that, let's say, built in, and so you maybe just meet one person and then everything starts activating. But remember that the twin flame energy is an energy, okay? Because we are, in the end, if you see it in a very, very great scale, at a higher level, we are all one. We are all consciousness. We are all the divine, okay? So we are all part of the same, let's say, fountain of light. We are all drops of light from the same fountain of light. And one of those drops is your twin flame, okay? But you also carry energy, for example, of your soul group, of your, of course, your family and the family that you incarnate with, your soul group, your extended soul group, your friends. Then we go to the, even to the monad, to the logos. So we're all connected as souls, and we're all fulfilling different missions with each other. But the twin flame mission is, let's say, like a very specific mission of the ones who are awakened now on earth, of the healers and the old souls that have been practicing this, and that have, on top of their own mission, they have the mission of rebalancing the masculine and feminine energies in the planet. Okay. So I hope that this makes sense, that you can understand it. The energy of the twin flame can be awakened in you through different people that don't necessarily have to be your twin flame. Okay? This is why many people confuse who their twin flame is, because the twin flame energetic, let's say the flame will light you up the same way as the kundalini gets awakened. We don't really know how, and it happens through different ways and to different people. For twin flames, your flame will be lit up first, and then through getting into the knowledge, through going through your purification process, through understanding about the twin flame energetics, through all the information that is now available, you start to get more leads into your path. But in the end, the one that's driving your path, the one that's driving the whole process, is your soul. Okay? So your soul is your first twin flame, let's say. And then when you are at a point where you have embodied all of these things, where you're purified enough, then you're able to come back into reunion, or to come into union with your twin flame. Okay? I hope this is making sense for you guys. So this is why sometimes it's really hard to tell who your twin flame is, the process in you, but they do not have to be your twin flame necessarily. They may be carrying a part of that energy for, let's say, for your twin flame. If your twin flame is caught up still doing other things, that person may carry this and will help you start your process, like making progress before you actually meet your twin flame. Okay, but you will know when you meet your twin flame. This is something that I always get asked. There are people who even like read the Akashic records to find this out. But I think this is something that, as you get to know yourself more, as you go through the purification process itself as the twin flame that you are, that's when you purify all those parts of the ego, the codependency, the relationship patterns, the relationship you had with your parents, the relationship you had to your father, to your mother. And that's when you start to purify all of that out. And then your soul really knows, oh, this is really my twin flame, or oh, this is not my twin flame. I was still projecting all of these things, and I thought this was my twin flame, but it's not my twin flame, because this was still my ego projecting on the other person. Okay? So let me know, dears, if you got this, if I was explaining myself so that you could understand that. Ingrid, I hope this helped for you. And let me just read the other questions real quick. Okay, so Julie says, Lana, I hope you see as you have changed my life. I'm so grateful for you. Oh, hi, Julie. Thank you. Celebrate for everything you do. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I send you love and light every time I do meditation. Thank you, Julie. That's wonderful. I love to hear from you. I love to get to meet you and to talk to you. Thank you so much. And thank you for being part of this group, of this tribe, and thank you for doing your healing work. Okay, so Linda says, I really like how you explained to experience. This is really helping me understand this journey better. Thank you. You're welcome, Linda. I'm glad it's making sense. Okay. Okay, this is very great. I've never felt so much pain in a relationship. Why? Okay, Gail. This is okay. This also happens, you know. I don't know right now if this is you mean with your twin flame? I'm guessing this is what you mean. But many times the first part of the journey especially is extremely painful, and it is due to exactly the purification process that I was talking about. Because sometimes only through pain do we actually want to move. Sometimes we're comfortable in situations and relationships, in accepting things for ourselves that maybe our soul is pushing us into another direction, into a brighter future, into a brighter path, into something that we didn't even see coming. And in order to get us moving, sometimes let's say we need that harsh experience, or that that like heavy energy, in order to really want to move into some place where it doesn't feel like that, and to some place where we're more whole and we're healed. Okay, it's like when you burn yourself, right? If you wouldn't feel like the burn, you could burn yourself even more, right? That we have these like couple of seconds until we actually realize that we're burning ourselves, right? But this is extremely important to know, that you're to feel that pain, so that you can change. Okay, because if sometimes we are in our lives, in places or in situations where we're no longer feeling, we're maybe not feeling the pain, but we're maybe also not feeling happy. And we even forgot how happiness actually felt, or how being alive felt, or how being excited for the everyday. And sometimes through these situations, these painful situations, we start to shift, and we start to go into more healing, and into really wanting to be happy, and into really wanting to find another place, and to find solutions to the things that we are experiencing. But first, we have to become conscious of it. And sometimes the becoming conscious of it is very, very painful. Okay? But this doesn't mean that because we're going through the awakening, or because we have a twin flame, that we are supposed to endure any kind of abuse, any kind of violence, and any kind of hurt, like in ourselves. Okay, this is also something that I like to say explicitly, because no abuse is tolerated in my way, in my personal way of seeing things. Okay, it's one thing to deal with someone, for example, if our twin flame, like they say, it's being a jerk, or it's being, immature, or he's doing things, or we are also acting out. These things can happen, and these things happen because we need to heal them. Okay, but it's very different when we're talking about any kind of abuse, or any kind of violence, or any kind of situation where you are not treated the way you're supposed to be treated, and where you are not feeling loved. Okay, and that when we are in the separation phase, the twin may be running, and the twin may be acting really badly, or doing things, and they may hurt us. But we're not talking about until the point where you feel like, this is abuse, or this is psychological abuse, or this is someone who has a very, like, I don't know, psychic problems. Or okay, so just please be very mindful of that, because your twin flame is not going to how can I say this so that I don't get misinterpreted? Okay, in the higher levels, or in the more consciousness your twin flame acquires, the more you guys purify, your twin flame will reflect that as well. Okay, so there may be times where there are periods of separation, and there may be times where it can be a year or 2 years, sometimes even longer. I have seen also in some cases. But there is always this underlying love, there is this underlying knowing in yourself that this person also loves you in a way, or that they're also there. So there is this, even underneath, you can feel this kind of balance. Okay, if this person is completely off tracks, and really doesn't have any, like, you don't feel that, not even energetically, that this person has this love and this respect and this space for you, then I would probably say, this is probably not your twin flame. Please be very mindful to be in your own process. And if you're not sure, you can just continue to go through your own purification process. And as you do this, your higher self and your soul will show you who your twin flame is. You will know. The more you purify, you won't tolerate anything that is less in a vibration than you. So if this person was not your twin flame, they won't be able to hold the same vibration that you have. Okay, because twin flame vibration is like you're singing the same tune. You're exactly in the same frequency. Okay, in the underlying frequency of it all. Okay, so through your purification process, you will get to know who your twin flame is, and you will get to, or if you haven't, you will meet your twin flame. Okay. Okay. So, okay, I hope that helped, Gail. I went a little bit into deep. Okay, STP says, how can you know if he's close to coming forward? Can they be changing while still being in strong contact with you? Yes. Well, Astuti, I think what happens is that there comes a time where, how I have felt it is that there comes a time where there is less and less and less resistance in both sides. Okay, when there's resistance in each of these sides, that you feel like, oh my God, this is so hard, or oh my God, why is he doing this? Why am I doing this? Why are they, when there is any kind of resistance, and also when you are going through your purification, when you are going through the depths of your soul, and you're really purifying, it's like when you're sick in the hospital, and sometimes it's nice to see people come visit you, but other times, you just want to be alone to really be able to shift and to really be able to heal at your own pace and at your own time. So the same way, when we go through the purification process, we go through these very vulnerable and tender stages where many times we don't want to see our twin, but we also don't want to see anybody. We want to go through this alone because it's something that we need the space in order to become the person that we are becoming. It's like being in the cocoon, in the darkness alone, in order to become the butterfly and to be able to then join the world again. Okay, so each one of us have their own process, and you have your own process, dear, and your twin flame has his own process. And when the processes, when each of you purify and let go of, and there becomes less and less and less resistance for both of you, when there is no resistance, that's usually when you come together, or when the lines are open. Let's say the pathway is open for you to reunite. Okay, that's the way I see it. Okay, Lou says, I didn't know my twin flame was twin flame for 49 years. I had known I loved him since I was 11, but when I found out about twin flames 25 years ago, I didn't know. Okay. Yes, that can also happen, because we're acquiring these, and that's wonderful, Louise, because we're acquiring these this consciousness. It's like, I just had a patient recently, and she was telling me, I felt like up until last year, I felt like I had just been living my life blindfolded, like really just living for the sake of living, but I wasn't really living my life, and it has been 1 year since I have been feeling that I'm really living and that I'm really getting to know everything. And it's like I was just born, And this is the same feeling that we have when our human selves become aware of our divine selves, and we start to invite the divinity of us more and more into the body, and we start to ground it more and more into the 3D, we start to feel like we are new people, we are born again, we start living and seeing things and being suddenly aware of things that we had no idea like 1 year ago or 10 years ago or 15 years ago, because we are in a time where we are expanding and ascending so rapidly as individuals and also collectively. So we're really in this process of helping each other to grow and to accelerate our evolution, our spiritual evolution, okay? To become the light beings that we actually are, and to help the world, to help everyone else on the planet who's